ladies and gentlemen. Welcome all of you on this show. Yesterday, we had our first session of International CEO Conclave. This is day two. The topic of this webinar is the global pharmaceutical industry and the way forward to fight COVID-19. We have three very great guests yesterday. Dr. Sanjay Agarwal, he is the leading pharmaceutical consultant. Dr. Kamal Kumar, he is vice president and head of a great pharmaceutical company. And we had Mr. Vishal Junjuwadia. He is owner of Aspirus Life Sciences. So we had discussed about what was the global impact of COVID on India as well as globally on pharmaceutical industry. We had also discussed what are the disadvantages of mask and what is plasma transfusion and its future. We had also discussed about the vaccine for COVID-19. Dr. Kamal Kumar explained about what measures a pharmaceutical company has to take during this pandemic and what measures employees has to take care. We had already discussed with Vishal Junjuwadia ji about marketing and supply chain which is affected by, due to this pandemic. Today we have two very important guests with us, Mr. Major General Vinod Khanna, and I request to my co-host Vikram Chaudhary, Director Operant Pharmacy Federation, to continue the session.
Yes, Mr. Vikram.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this International CEO Conclave. I take the opportunity to introduce all our guest, Major General Vinod Khanna. He is an electronics engineer, has been a quality professional experience of more than a half a century. He is an alumnus of the National Defence Academy and Staff College of Wellington. He is also postgraduate qualification in system technologies and holds a master degree in quality and reliability engineering from the University of Birmingham in UK. He has attending training on global warming from the Mr. A.I. Gore, former US Vice President and Nobel Prize winner. A principal auditor for quality management system, General Khanna is also a lead auditor for the environment and occupation health and safety system. He has also been a lead auditor on carbon trading and for Chicago Climate Exchange with more than 3,000 man-days of audit behind him. He is also recognized amongst the eminent quality experts in India. General Khanna is actively involved in the training on the auditing and awareness on the management system. General Khanna is also Director of Total Quality Management in the company that is leading suppliers of pharmaceutical ingredients to major global corporations, many of which Fortune 500 companies. I welcome Major Khanna to this conclave.
Welcome. Yeah, right. Nice to be here with you all, gentlemen. So I think Mr. Vikram, first of all, thank you very much for saying so many good words for me. So I think now you being the compare of the whole show, I think you start the proceedings and I think we'll join you as and when occasion arises. And Mr. Vishal, of course. Yeah. Vikram, I think you're the master of the show today. You start.
Major General Khanna, very welcome from my side also, sir. I know you from last 9 or 10 years. I know about your vast knowledge on any subject. So my first question is on behalf of the students and those employees who have lost their job during this pandemic. Many of the students have passed out and they are trying to search job, but due to recession they are not getting the job, and the employees are being fired by the companies due to this recession. So, what advice will you give to such students and such employees? What should they do now going forward?
Anshu, this is a national problem. I think that today, because of the lockdown or all the other issues which are related to lockdown, like distancing and not factory opening, there's definitely a recession in the industry, and not just in pharmaceutical. Any industry today, there's a problem. And yes, you are saying those professionals who are not having a job now, what are going to do? Well, one way can be wait, let the things calm down. Ultimately, the industry will definitely need trained people. And where are they going to get the trained people? The one who have already worked. So there will definitely be a lot of opportunity. As an economist says, we're in a V shape. I mean, first things go down, and then they suddenly take off. In the economy, also the V shape is taking place. So once that picks up, I'm sure the jobs will also pick up. But now the problem is this: that may take 6 months, that may take 4 months. I don't know how long it takes. What are you there to do in between? Well, all I'll say is they should now, first of all, use this opportunity to upgrade their own professional skills. In that, they should learn, do the study, read, and upgrade themselves, and do multitasking, multi-skilling. Not just
Sorry to interrupt you, Khanna ji. You are not audible, sir. We request you to say a bit louder.
very louder. Okay. What I mean to say, you have to multi-skill yourself during this break. Use the opportunity to study and upgrade your skills so that as and when the economy does pick up, then can very well fit in. That is number one item you can do. Number two is, what are you going to do if you have a family to look after? How are you going to sort of take care of them? There's no salary coming. That, I'm afraid, this is a little problem case, but you have to somehow manage. But don't waste your time. One way can be the break. Well, I'll just go and sit in my room, watch my TV, and enjoy fun. No, use this time to upgrade your skills. Secondly, if you can find an avenue for online working, many companies are prepared to do online working, the work from home. Like so many things you can do, the documentation that can be done offline, that many of the quality issues can be done offline. Offsite. So therefore, be on the lookout. Many companies today are probably looking for, shall I say, resources which can work offsite. Because after all, don't forget that even the companies themselves also have to thrive. They can't remain without people for all time to come. They need people. And it is the people ultimately who make the company, and not just the four walls or the machinery kept there. So therefore, my advice to all those people will be twofold. Firstly, use this opportunity to upskill yourself, upgrade your skills, do multi-skilling, number one. Number two, try and look for jobs which can work off-site. And then wait. Once the economy picks up, there's going to be a tremendous demand for people, and skilled people. So you can then fit in where maybe ultimately it may prove out to be, I would say, blessing in disguise. That where you were, now you're a better person. One thing you should never allow yourself is stagnate professionally. That if you allow yourself to stagnate professionally, then things are going to be problematic. Reason being, what you're offering any company is not you as a person. You're offering your company as your skills, your knowledge, your experience. If you can do that, and that experience doesn't never go, your knowledge should not go, and of course your skills are probably even better off. So that's what my advice would be, Anshu. I hope I answer your question. Huh? Yeah.
Thank you, Major Sam. What do you think? How much the situation will get worse?
I know, Anshu, this is the difficult time we are all facing. In fact, the top leadership of the country is also facing that problem, and there is now the economy is opening up, industry is opening up. Hopefully, there will be definitely be some upgrade, as some of these agencies are saying that by next year end, maybe by latest by 22, definitely things will be not only normal, will be beyond the normal. Let's hope that. But my only advice is don't waste your time here. Use the time to upgrade your skills, and mostly multi-skilling. If you have been working in a particular kind of pharma company, see other pharma companies also. If you're working in an API, see whether you are and go in the formulation company also and all that. And do your technical skills, acquire technical knowledge. Today on the internet and elsewhere, immense amount of data knowledge is available. Use that. And today, in fact, the internet is a huge library of itself. Learn about other things, and don't just stick yourself to pharmaceutical companies. See, maybe it's a related field like food industry. Many other industries are there. That can also go. Because remember one thing, their application may be different. The people take the medicine or the food for different reasons, but many of the items are common. They both want safety. Safety is the key to all that. Of course, I know if it is a pharmaceutical industry, that it cures people. Food only satisfies your need. But still, the prerequisites for a food industry, prerequisites for a pharma industry are about the same. GMP or whatever you call it, any name, call it HACCP, GMP, whatever name you call, they all lead to the same thing. That means wherever things possible go wrong, you let them not go wrong. That's why we call by different names, hazard analysis, risk assessment or whatnot. But their all thing is where all the shoe can pinch, where all things can go wrong, we are trying to see where are they, what is the relative risk, and then you take preemptive measures to see that the risk doesn't get translated into a, shall I say, problem. That's my. So therefore, my point is this: don't just be content with just pharmaceutical industry. There's a whole lot of food industry there. Food processing is going to take place very big way. And today, of course, pharma industry itself is going to take a very big way. Today, India is one of the very big exporters. And the problem with India is that it's importing all the APIs from China. There will be a whole lot of new industries coming up, making APIs in India. APIs, intermediaries, all kind of things. So I think the present may not look very bright. To my mind, the future looks definitely not so bleak, if not better. Okay, Anju? So don't feel disheartened. Things may be bad now. Where in the world it is bad. The UK economy has gone down by 20%. America is also down. But they can't live like that. People get used to a certain style of funking living. They are definitely going to like to restore their, shall I say, lifestyles back to old days. Okay? Yes.
Right, sir.
Vikram, how
So why does the virus seems to be spreading much faster in less populated areas like Europe compared to Asia, which is densely populated?
ये प्रॉब्लम तो है एशिया वगैरह में, and you must notice the maximum problem taking place in Bombay and Delhi. Delhi has got what they call urban villages, densely populated. Bombay has got slums, shanty huts like Dharvi and all that in small area. Charles, one room, 6 people, 7 people living, densely populated, common toilets and squalor over there. And that's why there is a maximum here. And then you go back to South America, Brazil, another country which got a lot of slums, very high there. Therefore, yes, it is because of this reason that it is over here. And probably it is also lack of bad management, due to bad management. Like Bangladesh also got very densely populated, but it has done better. They manage it better. Now, we do not know what is the imperatives for this, but they said that when the heat comes, it will cure itself. Now we are having 40 plus temperature, nothing is happening. Going up. Nobody knows for that matter. Yes, but देखते हैं आगे क्या होता है. ठीक है, अब तो this is the area which is thing. But as far as I am concerned, or as far as we are all concerned, is this virus has a universal impact, not just on pharmaceutical industry. If we have to work on any industry for that matter, that those norms have to be followed. Distancing, not crowding, and then sanitization. Even a company like Sharp, there's so many new protocols have been introduced. They put you through Sharp, a shower, temperature checking. Now the even household we have started keeping in the oximeters, oxygen content, and visitors entering our houses are subjected to a temperature check. So these are some of the precautions which are taken. That is only segregate the people. It is not cure. Cure, God knows when it will come. Vaccination may be a long way. But all that can happen is the impact of this on the pharmaceutical industry is no different than impact on any other industry. Okay?
Right, sir.
I hope you were able to hear what I said.
Yes, sir. Sir, our India is exporter of generic medicine to US, and in past few years we have been hearing about US FDA auditing Indian companies. So I have two questions. What will be the impact of export of generic medicine to USA? And the second question is, will US continue to audit India? I mean, the US FDA will continue to audit India like it was doing before.
You see, point is this issue. Every country has got a right to ensure that the products which are fed to them are appropriate. And USA is a country which is a very advanced country, so they got the US FDA. And I think they got a full right to make sure that whatever is sold to the US patients of US industries, it is up to mark. That's why previously they used to leave it to the industry itself to come and audit. Who used to come and every 2 years, then auditing was very lax, and all kinds of things were going on. And USA today have become very, very particular. Particularly now the European Union has also become like that. So they have now strengthened their, shall I say, surveillance and oversight over pharmaceutical industries all over the world, particularly those who supply API for formulations. But they cannot allow that to happen. And now they expect Indian industries or for that matter any industry, to follow the same GMP norms, same set of things, so that when the product lands up there, it is as good from safety point of view as the one produced in USA. So that's why they have started doing that. Here I'm afraid our Indian industry has got no option to upgrade themselves. No option but to upgrade themselves. And this attitude, the chalta hai attitude of Indian industry is just not viable anymore. Indian industry has got to just start thinking as if they are an American company located in India. Think like that. No compromise. Don't create all those, shall I say, calling systems in place and all the only to be implemented when the audit takes place. No. You've got to do it round the clock. And today, I know many, very big industries, they used to falsify the records and they got blacklisted. There is no scope for falsifying records. If a particular record is made, it must reflect the correct situation and not just what is expected of them. You write what you have done actually. The record is a, shall I say, a historical data of what you have done. And you should not fudge your records, should not doctor your records. That's what my advice in the industry would be. If you do that, you're cheating yourself. And ultimately, somewhere along the way, things can go wrong. So I would say, US FDA has started coming to India. It's the best thing which has happened in the industry. And now we've got an opportunity to upgrade themselves. They have risen up the situation. So today they are world-class Indian pharmaceutical companies. They are operating from India. They suffered a lot. They were given warning. Some of them got blacklisted. But ultimately they come back to the roots. Today they are much better off. And they are being profitable. I would only say honesty is the best policy. Don't fudge. Just no compromise on quality, no compromise on, shall I say, food safety or drug safety, and no compromise anywhere in the system. Don't say I created an excellent system, but I only keep it for show. Systems are not showpieces. Systems are meant for followed. The system is like a template. It is a successful system. It's a successful template. If you have followed the template, everything goes right. Now, all that you now require is follow the template all the time. And you can go home and sleep peacefully. Hope that nothing will go wrong. Things only start going wrong is when you deviate from the template. That is, shall I say, the culture of the 1950s, not the culture of 2020s. 2020s, there can be no difference between an Indian company or American company or European company. We are same. And there is a transparency. I would say that yes, FDA is coming, and I would say they should come, and they got a full right to come, and I would say it's a good thing they are coming. It is in the bargain that we are helping ourselves upgrade ourselves. Nothing like a good competition, like a good scrutiny. Where India's oversight organizations can sometimes compromise, not US FDA. So they are the people who care about their people. So therefore I would say welcome them, create systems, follow the system, and don't neglect the human resources. systems are always operated by human beings and not by machines. The machines are also operated by human beings. Processes are operated by human beings. Don't neglect the human resources. That's my message. Yes, Sanju, bolo.
Sir, do you think Indian companies will cope up with this pandemic? There is not a problem in the companies, so will they be able, the pharma companies will be able to cope up with this situation?
दोबारा बोलना है क्या 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 है?
So my question is that do you think that the Indian pharma companies will be able to cope up with this situation, the COVID-19 situation?
I think they should do that. Why not? When we are supplying brain power to the world in software industry, we got adequate brain power in the country. And we definitely can. I have got no doubt that if we in the industry want to do something right, we'll do it. So therefore, no, I personally feel there should be no problem in Indian industry gearing itself to cope with the COVID-19. Because if you see today, every day in the evening, I find in the TV news channels, so many Indian doctors in America and elsewhere giving all the words of wisdom on COVID-19 and all that. They're Indians. They are studied in India. They learned in India. So if Indians can do that in America, I'm sure Indians can do that in India also. No problem. No, I don't think that should be a problem. What you need definitely is no laxity. No, don't say, okay, I'll go back to my old ways, find my records, and hopefully they're back. No, sorry, that won't happen. Indian industry is capable and it should become capable, and this is a challenge. I'm sure they can do that. I've got no doubt about that.
So there are a lot of challenges in front of pharma companies, like the workers has to follow social distancing, they have to wear masks. So how will these people work in on the shop floor?
थोड़ा सा फर्क तो पड़ेगा, ज़्यादा नहीं पड़ेगा. In that distancing has got to be done, and not just in India, it is done in America also, it is done in Europe also. So therefore we are all in the same boat. So काम तो चल सकता है, थोड़ा ज़्यादा spread out करना पड़ेगा हम लोगों को. You cannot, I say like, you cannot go back to your old bad ways. You have got to change according to the requirement. And all for good. Today, our industries, if I go, I find they're all so congested. किसी इंडस्ट्री में जाता हूँ मैं, everywhere there is space shortage. Raw materials are lying here, finished goods are lying there, intermediate are lying somewhere else. And nobody plans कि मेरी कंपनी ने expand करना है. Everybody, acquires assets as of today. Nobody thinks what are going to be assets, my requirements. Well, if you go to a company, say elsewhere else, they all massive companies and all that. Same thing I found in Bangladesh also, all congested, so congested. So therefore, no, I think that culture of congestion in the shop floors has also got to change. Because there may be huge campus, I find companies, but when it comes to brass tack, there is congestion. Maybe 30-acre plant, 40-acre plant, but top floor में जाओ तो वही congestion है. That you cannot have that. You got to change. And it's again good is going to happen, I would say. अच्छी बात हो गया इसी बहाने we will reorganize our shop floors and become shop floors more presentable and ultimately better. Yeah.
So you are an auditor. Many companies have the certificates which must have expired during this period. So what these people are doing for that expired certificate? How to continue that certificate?
ऐसा कर रहे हैं ये लोग. I know in one company, but it's a rule everywhere that they're extending the certificate. And now also they're allowed it can be done offline or offsite audit through these the team, MS Team or Skype and all that. So I also received a lot of protocols how to do that. You have to do an audit because the company themselves are not ready to sort of get audited this way. So that is going to be the pattern now quite a bit. But as far as certificate expiration is concerned, I think they're being extended that by 6 months or so that it doesn't become expired. So they should know on score on that. And don't forget one thing: if you as a company are concerned about your own ISO certificate, the certification body is even more concerned to retain your certificate, because then they want to earn from the certificate. So therefore, no. On that score, there should be no problem. Things may normalize. In the interim period, probably will go off-site audits and all that. But certificate will not expire automatically. So everybody knows. Even IAF knows, all the accreditation bodies are know that there is a problem. They are prepared to send the certificate. Okay? So they should no worry on that. But don't forget, if you are worried, it is as well as they worry also. Okay?
Right, sir. So, what do you think when this coronavirus situation will end? And what is the expectation about the vaccination? When will this vaccine come?
You see, today there are so many people are making vaccination. The Oxford University doing that. And there is a Serum Institute in India, in Pune, near the Indian. And AstraZeneca is also doing all that. And there's a company in America, in China as well. But they also said that they made some kind of vaccine. But before they introduce it, it is got to go through a lot of trials, human trials. So according to one estimate, a fully effective vaccine may come probably by the end of next year. But some kind of a preliminary vaccine to protect you from certain things, not all, maybe by the end of this year. And then we've got AstraZeneca and our Serum Institute. They are the ones which are can go to manufacture. And in fact, they already geared up. Serum Institute in Pune, Mr. Poonawala, is already tied up with Oxford University, and they are already made plans to manufacture in bulk. So all that they're waiting for is a little clearance from the drug authorities. This can be used. It may, by end of this year, hopefully something will come. But that may not be a complete answer. Complete answer may come, according to many people, by the end of next year. If at all.
Right, sir. Sir, this question is for the students who are watching our show. If someone wants to become an internal auditor or any lead auditor, what is the way to do this kind of course?
If I understood your question is, how does a person become an internal auditor? Is it
Right, right, sir.
the best way is undergo audit training under a person who is authorized to give training, like who is already a study lead auditor or maybe in an institution. Second thing which is important for internal auditor is domain knowledge. If you're an internal auditor, you already have domain knowledge of your system. If that's the thing. Third is experience. Tag on yourself with a already those who are auditors. If these 2-3 requisites are there, anybody can become an internal auditor. Anybody can become an internal auditor. Okay? So there should be no problem on that. But training is very important. When I say training, what does training involve? The audit techniques. How to do, let's say, training, one item, another item. And I would only advise one thing to the auditors. Go to the essence of the audit. Go for quality. Understand the system. That's why domain knowledge is important. What is the vital aspects? Why to the quality up to whatever the system that we are auditing. And lay emphasis on those. In fact, audit must be divided into 3 slots. Must be's, should be's, and could be's. First and foremost must be's. These are the most fundamental you must have. Should be, yes, desirable to have. Could be, if the time permits, you can have that. So that is the, shall I say, how the time apportionment of the audit should take place. But if your question was that, how to become an auditor, I would say yes, get yourself trained, gain some experience in the auditing, acquire the domain knowledge, and you have no problem in running internal audit. And once you become internal auditor, then your attempt should be to upgrade yourself to become an external auditor, to a bigger course, longer course, become external auditor. Advantage of being external auditor is you get exposure to a very wide spectrum of industries. As an auditor, external auditor, you may be today working in a pharmaceutical company, tomorrow in a milk dairy, day after in a, shall I say, in the bank, and another day you will be working in an automobile company. And so therefore, it enhances your knowledge a great deal. Okay? And of course, everywhere, the fundamental principle of auditing still remains the same. What is the essentials for the mission completion for that company, and go and vital on that. Don't go on the peripherals, stupid things. Okay? So there is no problem becoming auditor. All these 3 prerequisites must be there: training, experience, and domain knowledge.
Thank you, sir. My last question is that any advice you would like to give to pharmaceutical companies to combat or to fight COVID-19?
I would only say strictly follow the norms, SOPs laid down by the authorities, and make sure, firstly, as of today, there is no evidence that the COVID-19 can spread through food or other things. It is only person-to-person contact, human contact. So therefore, from COVID point of view, your packaging, which are handled by people, are not in any way affected. For your main product, all the food safety measures are there, yes. The human touch is only basically on the packaging. So make sure people who handle the packages all wear gloves and they are fully screened before they come there. And of course, all the other measures which are taken for the drug safety, the gowning and GMPs and all that must be done. These are additional things. Previously, we used to say wear gloves only when touching the product. It is more important now to wear the gloves when touching the packing material also. So you are likely to contaminate others through your touch of the packing material. Let's take a big GI drum, or fiber drum. It is handled by so many people on the route. God knows how many have problems in their own hand. So I would say not just in your end, even in the supply chain or in the, shall I say, to the customer, everything must be that way. And in fact, within your company, I would say all packing material itself, when it comes cheap there, it must be sanitized. Sanitize it with spray and all that, so that anybody may have touched it, it's fully wiped off. But that is, from a COVID point of view, that is the biggest problem. The human touch on the, nobody touches the product. Everybody touches the packing material. Packing material, whether it is a small little bottle, or whether it is the carton housing a bottle, whether it is a drum, it must be not infected with human touch. Treat packing material as seriously as if you are not doing what you're doing with the food safety, drug safety, the GMP, whatever you call it. Okay?
Thank you very much, sir, for your extensive knowledge.
Factory to go and do the regulations. There's a division or responsibility to the government and the company. The government job is laid on policies, regulations, and see that policies are followed by the company. Company job is to make sure, yes, they do in fact follow. Plus create internal system to further elaborate what the government policies are. Thank you very much. Very appropriately put logistics and it's just important. If you remember, I mentioned to you that today, because of COVID, your COVID has got extended logistics also. Because what you don't want people to go acquire infection of your packages. But that's a part of logistics. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Khan. I think. No.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Audience can ask the questions. They can drop in comment box. Sir, one question arises from Kritika. How many days in vaccines will reach the people after production?
Well, Kirtika, I wish I knew that answer. Nobody knows the answer. Even the people who are working on it, they don't know the answer. But general good guesswork is that by sometime middle of next year, we should have an effective vaccine. Hopefully, Oxford is number one today. Others are also there. And Oxford, AstraZeneca and the Serum Institute of Pune, I think they should bring out end of next year. So human trials are already on. And hope if they're successful, then I think we should be having it next year.
Yeah, sir.
Problem
One question arises from
Well, brother, Mr. Shastru, you see, HIV was a very, very special case. But generally it has been, not by vaccine, it has been controlled very well. I think the HIV today, nobody talks HIV because it has been controlled. And problem with HIV is vaccine, how to test it? Are you first going to infect a person? No volunteer will come and you infect me. So all that you got to say, but the fact remains is probably it is effective. There's no evidence to that. So HIV by itself its spread is practically curtailed. So therefore one reason I can think of is the human trial of HIV is going to be very, very difficult, but they have tried HIV on the animals. And generally it has been successful. HIV practically as a disease has been controlled, not eliminated, but controlled. तेरी आवाज इसमें पड़ रही. I can't hear you. I can only see your lips moving. No mic.
And Swam, you are muted.
Dr. Deepak, should we focus more on vaccine development or promoting immunity booster? I think, Doctor, I don't have an answer to that, but I suppose we've got to do both. Vaccine development, yes, but vaccine is going to be time consuming. So, in the interim period, we got no option but have a system in place, the separation and all that. That is the only way. But both are not mutually exclusive. Both are complementing each other. Vaccine, ultimate goal, but if not vaccine, the separation and other things have got to be done. And I'm sure we can control it. I've got no doubt about that. Maybe a little difficult, maybe a little problematic. Dr. Jawahar. Well, Doctor, I think you are probably better placed to answer this question. The question of COVID-19 result of microbial evolution. Well, I do not know. Firstly, as I say, it is through animals, excreta which falls on the pigs. The pigs in the Wuhan district or province get infected and become humans, and this eaten by human beings, the pig meat, and spread. Well, it may be microbial evolution, I do not know. That's a question which can only be answered by, microbial, those who are specialists in the field. But definitely, I mean, they're all linked. It is definitely something to do with the microbes, which are all the pathogens spread to human beings. And ultimately, what they're trying to do in Sweden is immunity, mass immunity. That let people get infected and they acquire immunity. Yes. I do not know how successful it is, but Sweden has it followed. Sweden has got no lockdown ever. And today, of course, New Zealand is controlled very well. They become totally free from all this. I do not know. I mean, it's something, a very question which only the microbiologist can give an answer. But purely from a layman angle, I would say yes, it definitely do with that microbial evolution, like all the Darwin theory and all that. That all living mechanisms try to mutate and ultimately get into higher form and then evolve. How they evolved and now we are trying to catch up. That definitely, I mean, there is something to do with that. What extent it is there, I'm afraid it is beyond my estimate. Here, Kirtika, having a vaccine for COVID can be normal life cycle as well COVID-19. No, I personally feel, Kirtika, that if you are not infected, I don't think it's going to impact your lifestyle. It may impact your lifestyle in different ways. People were very active mentally, socially, physically earlier, and now because of the lockdown or whatever, they're going towards watch in front of the TV, watch TV, no social interaction. Your mind has gone blank. So I would say they're aging. But otherwise, I don't think for an active person, once you resume the normal activity, it could have any impact at all. It's more applicable to elderly people who start aging a little prematurely. But otherwise, in my opinion, it should have no effect if you're not infected. If you're infected, then you know answering what will happen. Okay? Now you see Mr. Johnson, who was infected, and today he's as active as ever. So therefore, even those who are active and recovered, even they, I think, will not have much impact on their lifestyle afterwards. Okay? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, sir, for sharing your experience to our audience. And you are the rich source of knowledge, and you have given your experience to our audience. Any audience have questions, they can drop in comment box, so we can rise to Major General Vinod Khanna ji.
Yeah. Anju, your microphone is off. That's why I can't hear you. Now it's okay. Now I can hear you. Huh? So now I can't hear you. I can hear Vikram.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay then. All the best. Bye.
Yeah,
Good show.
yeah, thank you so much, sir, for connecting with us.
Welcome. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I switch it off? Yeah.